Hello! I know I've been making less YouTube videos at the moment. I think something that I've realised about myself is that love and relationships and topics like that are very important to me. They're the thing that I think of regularly and I read books about, or things like that. But at the moment I think it's harder to make videos about those or discuss those topics because now I have more actual real experience of having a boyfriend, for example. So it's reality. It's discussing or thinking about real actual people. It's not reading fairies in books or films or something. It's actual real people. Sorry, there's a spider on the ceiling. No, it's discussing, it's thinking about real, actual people. One of those people being myself. I'm an actual, real, actual person, and one thing I guess I've also thought is that my views on these things change, and change and progress and adapt to the way that the situations change and adapt and so forth. And I'm not like a TV show or something like that. So if I do put my ideas out there about a relationship or something, they could change. And I could end up disagreeing with myself or so forth, or not exactly disagreeing, but the situation could change, and I'm not sure I want to put myself out there that personally. Things change and stuff like that. If I'm discussing fairies in a book, the book doesn't change. The words in the book stay the same. The book doesn't start acting differently towards me or change its mind abruptly or anything like that. So I can discuss relationship theories from a book or something, and it's just going to stay the same throughout the whole conversation, and that's fine. But if I discuss something that's a personal experience, anything, everything could change at the drop of a hat, basically. Earlier on in the year, I got dumped, and at the time, I was saying people shouldn't be so quick to be judgmental or say bad things about me or him when they weren't involved, as comments. Because I thought our breakup went okay. I mean, it was upsetting, but as far as breakups go, there wasn't any massive argument or something like that. It just happened. So I thought it went okay. But now I don't feel that way because the situation has since then changed. After the breakup, for a couple of weeks he was completely silent, and then he sent me messages that I found hurtful, and I tried to tell him I found those messages hurtful, and we met up in person just as friends, and he continued to say things that I found hurtful. So now I don't think our breakup was so agreeable because he was willing to keep saying things that I found hurtful. So now I find the situation different. Looking back at my first relationship, it probably wasn't a good relationship. At the time, he was the only boyfriend I had ever had, and I had nothing to compare it to. So there were times when he said similar lines to all guys are like this, no guy's like a nag, or no guys like this, no guys like that. And I just sort of thought maybe he was right, and it started in small ways like that. But in the end, there were ways in which he really hurt me and didn't take on board when I said I didn't want something, or that I didn't like it. And yeah. I mean, it's just a bit hurtful. It's a bit hurtful thinking about it. But thinking about the things that happened. But when I started a new relationship, I kept thinking my new partner would get mad at me in the same ways that my first partner did, and it just didn't happen. And I was like, oh. Isn't he supposed to be getting mad right now? I thought all guys were, but no, it's different. So with situation changes, I think viewpoints change and so forth. Another thing that I've just thought of is that if you were reading a book and talking about the fairies in it of love or relationship, whatever the book's about, your position is always the same. You're the reader of the book. You're the spectator to those fairies or whatever. That's your position. But in an actual real life, actual experiences, your position changes from person who is involved in the experiences and those in those positions to person who is looking back with hindsight and so forth. So your position changes over time. You're not static. So now, things like with my first relationship, I'm looking at them from a less close position and a less invested position, so I can see more clearly some of the things that were happening. There's a cat sort of just there. I'll show you the cats. But anyway, the general gist of it is that it's harder to talk about these topics when they're actual real experiences that properly affect me or other people, as opposed to just fairies in books or something, because they actually properly affect me, and they're properly things that can make me upset or so forth, or be emotional or make me happy or whatever. At the moment, I'm in a good relationship. I think I'm in a really good relationship, and it's going well. And we've done some great things, like we went to Amsterdam and so forth, and it's going really well. But yeah, it's not easy to talk about these topics. Because they're actual real experiences that actually really affect me. Yeah, that's about it. So I probably will still talk about these types of subjects because I still read books and so forth, and I still have ideas independently. Just not as often because I don't want it to cut too close to home and so forth and end up being hurtful, I just That's how it is.